Daniel was a human engineer working on a space station called Horizon 7. The station floated near the edge of human space, close to where human explorers met alien worlds. Daniel loved his work. He fixed machines, built new tools, and helped keep the station safe. His life was simple but steady. One quiet day, as Daniel checked the station's communication panel, a strange message came through. It was not from any human ship or station. The message had an unusual pattern and language. Daniel's heart beat faster. He pressed the translation button and watched words appear on his screen. The message was from Arilyn. She was the queen of the Zalara, a powerful alien race known for their wisdom and strength. The Zalara lived far beyond human space. They were proud and mysterious. No human had ever spoken to their queen before. The message said, "Daniel, human engineer, I am Arilyn, widow queen of the Zalara. I ask you to come to my world and be my temporary partner. This will help our peoples build peace. Will you accept?" Daniel blinked. This was not something he expected. A queen, and from an alien race no less, asking him to be her partner. The words sounded serious and full of meaning, but why him? He was just a simple engineer, not a diplomat or leader. Daniel sat back in his chair and thought hard. If this was true, it could mean many things. The Zalara were strong and respected in the galaxy. If they wanted peace with humans, this was important. Daniel knew humans and aliens often misunderstood each other. Maybe this was a chance to make things better. Still, it was risky. He did not know the Zalara world. He did not know the Queen. And being a partner meant something more than just business. It could mean a close bond, even personal. After hours of thinking, Daniel decided to answer. He sent a message back. "Queen Arilyn, I accept your request. I will come to your world. I hope to serve well." Within minutes, the reply came. "Prepare for your journey. Our ship will arrive in 2 days. You will not be alone." Daniel told his friends and colleagues on Horizon 7. Some were shocked. Others warned him to be careful. But Daniel felt a strange excitement. This was a new chapter in his life. 2 days later, a huge Zalara ship appeared near Horizon 7. It was unlike any human ship. It shined with bright colors and moved silently. Daniel watched it dock with the station. From the ship came a small group of Zalara guards. They were tall with smooth skin that changed color like the sky at sunset. They looked serious but respectful. A tall Zalara woman stepped forward. She wore a crown shaped like stars and a robe that shimmered. Her eyes were deep and full of wisdom. This was Arilyn, the widow queen. Daniel felt nervous but stayed calm. Arilyn spoke in perfect human language. "Daniel, welcome. Thank you for answering my call. Come with me. Your journey begins now." Daniel followed Arilyn and her guards into the ship. Inside, the ship was like a palace. Soft lights glowed from the walls. The air smelled fresh, like flowers after rain. Arilyn led Daniel to a room filled with plants and a view of distant stars. She sat and gestured for Daniel to sit too. "I know this is sudden. Our worlds have been apart for a long time. But my people need peace, and I need your help." Daniel nodded. "I want to help, but why me? Why not a leader or diplomat?" Arilyn looked at him with sadness. "Because you are honest. You are not a politician or a ruler. You are a builder. You can help us build trust between our people. And Daniel, I am lonely. My mate died in battle. The pain is heavy. A partner, even temporary, can help heal this wound." Daniel understood then. This was more than politics. It was about trust, healing, and hope. "I will do my best, Your Majesty," he said. Days passed as the ship traveled to the Zalara homeworld, Zalara Prime. Daniel learned about Zalara history and customs from the ship's records and conversations with the Queen. The Zalara were a proud race with a deep connection to nature and honor. They believed strong leaders kept balance in the galaxy. Daniel was amazed by the way Zalara treated their homeworld. The cities were built around giant trees and glowing rivers. The people moved with grace and respect for their world. When they landed, many Zalara came to welcome their queen and her partner. Some looked curious, others cautious. Daniel knew he had to prove himself. At the palace, Daniel met Zalara leaders. They tested his knowledge and character. He showed them he wanted peace and friendship. Slowly, some began to trust him. Queen Arilyn and Daniel spent time together. She shared stories of her past, the battles she fought, and the love she lost. Daniel listened with care. Sometimes Arilyn's eyes showed sadness, but also strength. Daniel admired her. She was not just a queen, but a warrior and a healer. At night, Daniel looked out at Zalara Prime's twin moons. He thought about his life back on Horizon 7 and how much had changed. He was no longer just an engineer. He was part of something bigger, but Daniel also felt fear. Could he really be the Queen's partner? Could he handle the weight of two worlds watching him? One evening, Arilyn came to him and said softly, "Daniel, thank you for your courage. This journey will be hard, but together, we can change the future." Daniel smiled. "I believe that too, Queen Arilyn. We will face it together." The first step in their strange but important partnership had begun. Neither of them knew what challenges lay ahead. But they knew one thing: this was no ordinary alliance. It was a chance to build trust, friendship, and maybe something more. Daniel sat quietly in the grand hall of the Zalara Palace. The walls were tall and curved, decorated with glowing symbols that told stories of old. The air smelled of fresh leaves and soft rain. Outside, the twin moons of Zalara Prime shone brightly, lighting the sky with a gentle silver. Queen Arilyn stood near a large window, looking out at the city below. Her face was calm but serious. Daniel knew she carried a heavy burden. Since her mate's death, she had ruled alone. Now, with Daniel here, she hoped to find some peace. Their relationship had begun with formality. Daniel was the temporary partner, a role made to show unity between Zalara and humans. At first, it was all about politics and duty, but Daniel wanted to understand more. He wanted to see the Queen not as a ruler, but as a person. "Daniel," Arilyn said softly, turning to him, "our peoples watch us closely. They expect this partnership to be perfect. It is not easy." Daniel nodded. "I know. I feel it too. But I want to do more than just show. I want to build real trust." Arilyn smiled slightly. "That is brave. Many do not understand what this means. To be a partner is to share more than words. It is to share hopes, fears, and sometimes pain." Daniel thought about that. He knew his life back on Horizon 7 was simpler, but here everything felt bigger. Their actions could change two worlds. Over the next days, Daniel learned about the rules of the Zalara court. The people valued honor, respect, and loyalty. Partners were expected to support the Queen in public and private. They attended meetings, ceremonies, and talks with Zalara leaders. Daniel was nervous at first. The Zalara culture was very different from his own. Their language was full of meaning in every gesture and tone. But Arilyn helped him. She was patient and kind. One afternoon, Arilyn took Daniel to the palace gardens. The gardens were vast, filled with plants that glowed faintly in the twilight. Strange flowers with soft petals and leaves, like glass, shimmered in the gentle breeze. "Here," Arilyn said, "you can see the heart of our world. The plants, the air, they are part of us. Daniel reached out to touch a glowing leaf. It felt warm, alive. It's beautiful, he said. Erilyn looked at him closely. Our people believe that life is a circle. We must care for all things, or the circle breaks. That is why peace is so important. Daniel nodded. He felt a deeper respect for her. People. Days passed. Daniel and Erilyn attended meetings with Zalara leaders. Sometimes the leaders looked doubtful. They were not sure if a human could truly help their queen. Daniel felt the weight of their doubt, but he worked hard. He asked questions, learned their ways, and showed respect. Slowly, some leaders began to listen. One evening, as they rested, after a long day, Erilyn spoke quietly. Daniel, I have not told you about my mate's death. It was sudden and cruel. We fought to protect our people. Losing him changed everything. Daniel looked at her with sympathy. I'm sorry. That must be very hard, Erilyn nodded. It is, but I must be strong. For my people. Daniel felt his heart tighten. You don't have to be strong alone. I'm here. Erilyn looked at him, her eyes softening. Your presence helps more than you know. In the days that followed, their talks became deeper. Daniel learned about the Queen's hopes for peace, but also her fears. She feared losing more and feared trusting too much. Daniel shared stories of human life, of his home and family. He talked about how humans also struggled with loss and hope. They found comfort in each other's words. One night, under the twin moons, Erilyn and Daniel stood together on a balcony. The stars shone bright and the city below was quiet. Erilyn said, Daniel, this partnership was meant to last only a short time, but I find I do not want it to end. Daniel smiled gently. I feel the same. We started as strangers. Now, I feel like we are more. Erilyn reached out, placing her hand on Daniel's. The warmth of her skin surprised him. It was a simple touch, but full of meaning. Before they could say more, a guard approached quickly. Queen Erilyn, there is news. A rival faction moves near the city. They threaten our people. Erilyn's face hardened. Prepare the defenses. Daniel, stay close. Daniel's heart raced. The danger was real. But he felt ready. He would stand by the Queen not just as a partner but as a protector. That night, as Zalara prepared for what might come, Daniel and Erilyn sat together. The bond between them was growing, built on respect, trust, and something deeper. The Queen's temporary partner was no longer just a symbol. He was becoming a true part of her world. The sun dipped below the horizon of Zalara Prime, painting the sky with streaks of orange and purple. Daniel and Queen Erilyn stood on the palace balcony, watching as the city lights slowly flickered on. The peaceful scene, however, hid a growing threat. The rival faction that the guards had warned about was moving closer, and tensions were rising. Daniel felt a mix of excitement and fear. This was his first real test as the Queen's partner. He was not just here for ceremonies or politics anymore. He had to be ready to protect Erilyn and the Zalara people. That night, the palace buzzed with activity. Zalara warriors prepared weapons, strategists mapped out defenses, and couriers ran between towers. Daniel watched it all with wide eyes, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. Erilyn approached him, her expression calm but firm. Daniel, we will face danger soon. Your skills as an engineer are valuable. We need your help to strengthen our defenses. Daniel nodded quickly. Tell me what to do. The Queen led him to a room filled with technology and weapons. It was different from the machines Daniel was used to on Horizon 7, but some parts were familiar. They worked together, repairing energy shields and upgrading the palace's defense systems. As they worked side by side, Daniel and Erilyn talked. Their conversations grew less formal and more personal. Daniel learned how Aralyn had trained as a warrior, not just a queen. He admired her strength and determination. One evening, after a long day of preparations, Daniel found Aralyn standing, alone on the balcony again. She looked tired, but proud. "Daniel," she said softly, "I did not expect to feel this close to you. At first I thought this partnership was only a duty. Now it feels like something more." Daniel smiled. "I feel the same. I never imagined I would grow so close to a queen, or an alien. But you're not just a queen to me. You're a person." Aralyn's eyes softened. "You have helped me more than you know." Suddenly, the palace alarms blared loudly. The rival faction's ships had appeared in the sky. They were closing fast. Daniel's heart pounded. Aralyn's guards rushed to their positions, and the queen quickly took command. "Daniel, come with me," she said firmly. "We must stay together." They moved through the palace corridors, heading to the command center. Daniel's mind raced, but he kept calm. He watched how Aralyn spoke to her officers, clear, strong, and confident. The attack began. The rival ships fired energy blasts toward the palace's shields. The shields flickered under the heavy fire. Daniel jumped to the control panel. "The shields are weakening. I can reroute power to the front defenses, but it will take time." Aralyn nodded. "Do it. I will lead the ground forces if needed." Together, they worked. Daniel focused on the shields and systems. Aralyn prepared her warriors. Suddenly, the rival faction sent a smaller ship to try to break through the palace's back gate. Daniel and Aralyn raced to stop it. Aralyn pulled out a blade, shining with blue energy. She moved with speed and grace, a true warrior. Daniel followed closely, using a small weapon he carried for protection. They fought side by side. Aralyn's strength and skill amazed Daniel, but he also surprised her with his quick thinking and courage. They covered each other, making a strong team. The rival ship was pushed back. The palace's defenses held. After the fight, Aralyn looked at Daniel with respect and warmth. "You were brave today. I am proud to have you by my side." Daniel felt a surge of happiness. "I would do anything to protect you and your people." The battle was won, but the threat was not over. The rival faction still watched and waited. In the days after the attack, Daniel and Aralyn spent more time together. They shared stories of their pasts, their hopes, and their fears. Daniel taught her about human customs and humor. Aralyn showed him the beauty of her world and the meaning behind her people's traditions. Their bond grew stronger. The court began to see them not just as queen and temporary partner, but as a team, two beings from different worlds united in purpose and feeling. One evening, as they watched the twin moons rise, Aralyn turned to Daniel. "I never thought I could trust a human like this." Daniel smiled softly. "And I never thought I could find a friend, or more, in an alien queen." She took his hand gently. "Maybe this partnership was never meant to end." Daniel looked into her eyes and nodded. The danger they faced had changed everything. What started as a duty was becoming something real, something deep. But they both knew challenges still waited. The rival faction was not defeated, and peace was fragile. Together they would face whatever came next. The palace was quieter than usual. The bright halls and gardens of Zalara Prime held attention beneath their beauty. Daniel sensed it the moment he stepped into the royal chambers. Queen Aralyn stood by the window, looking out at the distant city lights. Her face was thoughtful, her eyes shadowed by worry. "Daniel," she said without turning, "there is something you must know. Not all who serve me are loyal. Some want to see me fall." Daniel felt a chill run down his spine. "You mean there is a threat inside the palace?" Aralyn nodded slowly. "Yes. A group of nobles believe my rule is weak after my mate died. They want to take power for themselves. If they succeed, peace with humans will be lost. Daniel's mind raced. This was more dangerous than the rival faction outside the city. Internal enemies could hurt from within, with lies and betrayal. "Do you know who they are?" Daniel asked. Arilyn shook her head. "Not yet, but I have seen signs. Secret meetings in the shadows, messages that vanish before they can be read." Daniel frowned. "We must find them before they act." Arilyn turned to him, her voice low but firm. "I trust you, Daniel. You must help me uncover the truth." "Our alliance depends on it." Daniel agreed without hesitation. He felt the weight of the Queen's trust like a heavy armor. He was no longer just a visitor or partner. He was part of this world's future. Together, they began to watch and listen. Daniel used his human skills to analyze data and security footage. Arilyn spoke with her closest allies, testing their loyalty. One night, Daniel found a hidden message inside a communication device. The message was encrypted, but his engineering mind helped him break the code. It revealed plans for a secret attack on the Queen during a public ceremony. Daniel rushed to Arilyn with the news. "They plan to strike during the Festival of Light. We must prepare." Arilyn's eyes narrowed. "This is treason. We cannot let it succeed." The Festival of Light was the most important event on Zalara Prime. It was a celebration of life, peace, and unity. The Queen's appearance symbolized hope for the people. Daniel and Arilyn began making plans to protect the Queen. They called trusted guards and set traps for the traitors. As the festival day arrived, the palace filled with guests from across the galaxy. Daniel felt the tension under the music and laughter. Every face was a possible threat. When Arilyn appeared in her shining robes, the crowd cheered. Daniel stood close, watching for danger. Suddenly, a group of armed nobles tried to attack. They moved quickly, but the Queen's guards were ready. A fierce fight broke out. Daniel helped where he could, using quick thinking to block paths and protect Arilyn. The traitors were caught or fled. After the fight, Arilyn looked at Daniel with deep gratitude. "You saved my life and my throne." Daniel smiled but felt serious. "I only did what was right. We must stay strong." The festival ended with even more cheers, a sign that the people still believed in their Queen and her new partner. In the days after, Daniel and Arilyn worked to find the traitors who had escaped. Their trust in each other grew stronger. They shared more than duty now. They shared a bond built on truth and loyalty. One evening, Daniel asked, "Queen Arilyn, do you ever fear that all this might be too much?" She looked at him softly. "Fear is natural, but I have hope, and you. That makes me strong." Daniel felt a warmth in his chest. He reached out and took her hand. It was a small touch, but full of meaning. The secrets revealed and dangers faced had changed their relationship forever. No longer just queen and temporary partner, they were now allies, friends, and something more. But the galaxy was wide and full of challenges. Together they would face whatever came next, stronger and united. The morning sun bathed Zalara Prime in a warm, golden light. The city was alive with sounds of life and celebration. The Festival of Light had been a success, but the danger was far from over. The traitors who had attacked the Queen were still out there, hiding and planning their next move. Daniel and Queen Arilyn stood in the palace war room, surrounded by maps and data screens. The air was thick with tension. "We must be ready," Arilyn said firmly. "They will try again. They will not give up." Daniel studied the maps. "We have patrols watching all the borders. But they are clever. They know the palace well." Suddenly, an alert flashed on one of the screens. "Movement detected near the eastern gate," a guard reported. Arilyn's eyes narrowed. "Prepare the defenses. I will lead the response team. Daniel nodded, feeling a mix of fear and determination. He was no longer just an engineer or a partner. He was a protector. As the team moved toward the eastern gate, Daniel stayed close to Arilyn. The city's streets were quiet, but every shadow seemed alive with threat. When they reached the gate, they saw a small group of armed nobles trying to force their way inside. The nobles' faces were twisted with anger and greed. Arilyn raised her voice. "Stop! You will not harm my people or me," the nobles sneered. "Your time is over, Queen. We will take what is rightfully ours." The fight began. Arilyn fought, with skill and grace, her energy blade flashing in the dim light. Daniel stayed close, using a small weapon to defend himself and protect the Queen. Together, they moved as a team. Daniel's quick thinking and Arilyn's strength made them a powerful force. The nobles were pushed back, but the battle was not easy. Daniel saw the determination in their eyes. They wanted power no matter the cost. After the fight, Arilyn looked at Daniel with tired eyes but a proud smile. "You have proven your loyalty, Daniel, not just to me, but to my people." Daniel felt a deep sense of belonging. "I will stand with you, no matter what." The city's people began to gather, watching the battle from a distance. Their cheers grew louder when they saw the Queen and her partner fighting side by side. Arilyn turned to the crowd. "Our strength is not just in warriors or weapons. It is in our unity. Together, we will protect our home." The people's cheers filled the air, a powerful sound of hope and trust. In the days that followed, Daniel and Arilyn worked to rebuild and strengthen the city's defenses. They met with leaders and shared plans to keep peace. But something had changed. Their bond was no longer temporary or just for duty. It was real, strong, and growing deeper. One evening, Daniel and Arilyn walked through the palace gardens. The Bow. Stars shone bright above them, and the air was cool and calm. Arilyn stopped and looked at Daniel. "I never imagined I would find this with a human." Daniel smiled. "Neither did I. But here we are." She took his hand gently. "I do not want this partnership to end." Daniel squeezed her hand. "Nor do I." Their future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. They would face it together, as partners, friends, and maybe something more. The stars shone brightly over Zalara Prime, casting a soft glow on the city and the palace. The twin moons rose slowly, marking the start of a new night. But for Daniel and Queen Arilyn, this night was unlike any other. It was a night of new beginnings. The past weeks had been difficult. Threats, battles, and secrets had tested their strength and trust. But through it all, they had stood side by side. Their partnership, once only a symbol, had grown into something real. Now it was time to face the future. Inside the great hall of the palace, Zalara leaders and humans gathered. It was a historic moment. The alliance between humans and the Zalara was stronger than ever, thanks to the courage and trust between their queen and her partner. Arilyn stood tall, dressed in her royal robes. Daniel stood beside her, proud and calm. When she spoke, her voice was clear and strong. "People of Zalara, people of humanity, today we celebrate more than peace. We celebrate trust, friendship, and the future we will build together." The crowd cheered, their voices filling the hall. Daniel stepped forward. "I came here as a visitor, unsure of what to expect. But I found more than a queen. I found a partner, a friend, and a new home." The leaders nodded, smiling and clapping. The moment was full of hope. After the ceremony, Daniel and Arilyn walked through the palace gardens. The air was cool, and the plants glowed softly in the moonlight. Arilyn looked at Daniel, her eyes shining. "This journey has changed me. I never expected to find someone like you." Daniel smiled gently. And I never thought I could feel this way, but I'm glad I do. They stopped near a large tree, its branches spreading wide and strong. Arilyn took Daniel's hand. Will you stay? Not just as my partner for duty, but as something more? Daniel looked into her eyes. Yes. I want to build this future with you. She smiled, relief and happiness shining on her face. The days after the ceremony were filled with hope and hard work. Together, Daniel and Arilyn led efforts to rebuild cities, strengthen alliances, and create new opportunities for their people. Their bond inspired others. Humans and Zalara began to work closely, sharing knowledge and culture. The two worlds, once distant, were now connected by friendship and trust. One evening, Daniel sat on the balcony looking at the stars. Arilyn joined him, sitting close. We have faced many challenges, Daniel said. But I believe this is only the beginning. Arilyn nodded. Together, we are stronger than any threat. They watched the twin moons rise again, shining on a new future they would face side by side.